The following is a Stars and Strikes doubles rebroadcast featuring some of our most memorable programs.
Stars and Strikes doubles. From Park Place Lanes at Windham, featuring outstanding Candlepin bowlers from all over New England. Stars and Strikes doubles is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome back to Park Place Lanes here in Windham. It's semi-final week. Doug Brown and Dan Murphy now on Stars and Strikes doubles, and like we did on the regular show just the last hour, we're going to try and eliminate down to 2 teams, and then see if we can figure out which team is going to advance to the Tournament of Champions. You have 3 pretty quality teams left right now.
Well, I think if somebody could win a couple matches in a row, they'd probably make it. We're having a hard time finding someone who could win 2 matches in a row, but we're on slate again. See if Mike Sargent and Stan Mayo can make it 2 in a row.
All right, let's meet our 4 bowlers for this particular week on Stars and Strikes doubles. First of all, our number 3 seeded team. They came up with a dramatic victory last week, in case you missed it. Mike Sargent from Bradford, Mass., and his partner from Windsor, Vermont, is Stan Mayo.
Okay, and Mike Sargent comes in averaging 127. His roll-off score 694, and Stan averaging 114 and 654.
And last week they came down to the final 2 boxes before they were finally able to knock off Larry Valcourt and Dan Broder. An exciting match. It essentially went into overtime, really, all tied into the last 2.
Mike says it was just routine for him. Made a heck of a shot, though, in the 9th box, and then follow up with a strike.
All right, let's see if they can make it 2 wins in a row. Here are the 2 guys who will be challenging them. Our number 2 seeded team, making his first appearance here on Stars and Strikes from Beverly, Massachusetts, Mark Gregory, and his partner from Croydon, New Hampshire, Dan Valcourt.
Okay, Mark Gregory carries an average of 126. His roll-off score is 689. And Danny Valcourt 120, and his roll-off score 660.
And of course the runners-up in this particular show will have to settle for 3rd place prize money, $250. The winners will move into our championship show next Sunday here on Stars and Strikes doubles. And don't forget, 2 weeks from today, the Tri-State Megabucks Tournaments of Champions begin, both at 12 and 1 o'clock in singles and in doubles. We'll be telling you more about that both the rest of this week and next week. We're going to get this match underway. 3 strings of doubles bowling on Candlepin Stars and Strikes doubles right after these messages. Don't go away. All right, before we get to the bowling, just a quick reminder. Last week, Mike Sargent and Stan Mayo knocked off Dan Broder and Larry Valcourt as they rolled a 371. Mike Sargent coming up with the big marks in the last 2 boxes to win it. So today they go against number 2 seed Mark Gregory and Dan Valcourt. The winners of this match will advance to next week's finals against Joe Ashline and Steve Vadney. So we are set to go. Semifinal week continues, and Mike Sargent will get this match started on lane 32 here at Park Place. And right in the pocket for a 9-pin drop.
Right in the face, Michael, right in the face.
Just the kingpin, the 5 left for Mike Sargent.
No. $10 to start. Mike came up, final 2 boxes of last week's match, needing 19 pins to win, and he was faced with a rather ugly leave in the 9th as he puts a strike up here in the 2nd. Last week he was faced with the 1, 2, 9, and 10 and turned it into a mark to win the match.
He doesn't have to worry about missing any single pin in that ball, but he's thinking, well, it would have been a nice fill.
Here now is Mark Gregory, making his first appearance here on Stars and Strikes. Dan mentioned he rolled a 689 in the roll-off. That was good enough to finish 4th overall, which meant that he was paired with the 7th bowler. And that was Dan Valcourt with a 660. So that's how they ended up teamed together. Mark looking for the spare, and doesn't get much happening at all in that ball. And Mark opens with a 6 box. Mark from Beverly, Mass. Works for the Automobile Insurers Bureau as a mailroom coordinator. Does a lot of his bowling at the Beverly Bowl-O-Mat. Just missing the head pin that time. Oh, yes.
Good recovery there.
That was a strike ball. In the 1-3, 1-2 pocket, rather.
Come on, Stan.
So Stan Mayo now works on the strike, put up by his partner Mike Sargent in the second.
This is the key thing about doubles bowling, I think, Dan, is that sometimes there's more pressure than there is when you're bowling by yourself, because when you step up there, especially for the first time, here's Stan coming up there for the first time in the day, and he's working on a strike. So you feel the responsibility. You want to try and fill the mark. Keep it going.
He did that, but he missed the single for the spare. Could have easily been spare, strike, spare.
Actually, could easily have been a triple strike.
Well, that's true too.
Left a 5-pin in the first and a 5-pin in the third. This time off the side. And it'll be the 1, 7, 8, and 10 with plenty of wood. Four pins standing and 4 on the deck.
Where did the other two go?
Stan's taking a little time to study it.
The wood settled down and, well, got half of them.
That'll be an 8. 8 box for Stan Mayo, 47 through 4.
Come on, Danny.
An early lead for the team of Sargent and Mayo, but now Dan Valcourt will try and do something about that. Dan, of course, Larry's brother. Mentioned that. Larry getting a win with Dan Broder in this series before dropping that match last week. Dan made his first appearance here on Stars and Strikes doubles back in December. He was paired with Dave Kudermarsh. They won a match and then lost a very tough 1-pin decision to Bob Mazer and Steve Tierney the following week. Those 2 times in December, the only other 2 appearances on Stars and Strikes for Dan Valcourt.
30 through 3, trails by 9.
Oh, perfect attempt. It looked like he had it for certain.
Just buried it in the 1-3 pocket, got the 1-3-6, and just never came close to getting the 10.
The thing that might have cost him was that ball might have been too straight, it appeared. So the difference is 7. Now back we go to Mike Sargent. Right on the head pin again. This time he leaves the 10-pin. Well, so far Mike has a strike and 2 9-drops.
Waiting for the wood to the left to settle down a little bit. Now he'll approach the 10-pin.
Mike missed the last single he had. He does not miss this one. I think he was probably just trying to make sure he decided what he was going to do before he delivered the ball. Missing the head pin this time. 5 drop on the spare.
4 horsemen left, 1, 2, 4, 7, and the 9 in the back. Looks pretty good.
Got the pin you worry about.
Really, the 9-pin. But
72 through 6 for the team of Sargent and Mayo. Oh, right in the pocket. Bounced it a little bit, but it stayed right on target, and a pretty pocket hit from Mark Gregory.
Well, you know, you see his ball turning over, spinning a little bit, wants to break from right to left. Probably a good thing he bounced that because it was airborne for a little bit, and it kept it from breaking as sharply as it probably would have if he laid it down smooth. There's the difference of that and a strike and a spread eagle. And there we go. Laid that one down, and it broke sharp into the head pin.
Seven on the strike. And a 10. So the lead down to 5.
Come on, Stan.
Stan Mayo is on the head pin, and he'll shoot at the triangle left, the 2, 4, and 5. The Newport area, Sunset Lanes, well represented in this series.
You got 4 out of 10 balls.
Yep. Stan right back in the pocket again. This time he'll shoot at the 5-9. Next Sunday at 12 noon, as Stan converts the spare in the 8th. Next Sunday at 12 noon, our final regular championship week of the season. At 12, it'll be the championship match between Glenn LeBlanc and Neil Gosselin, with the winner moving into the Tournament of Champions. And then at 1 o'clock, the winners of this match will face our number 1 seeded team, Joe Ashline and Steve Vadnais. Of course, as of the moment, Paul Berger is the number 1 seed for the singles event. Gary Carrington and Jack Ray are the number 1 seeded team in the doubles event. Dan Valcourt from Croydon, New Hampshire. He and his wife Karen work a farm up there. 3 children, Doug and Dave and Beth. And a big first ball hit that time, leaving the 5 and the 9.
Nice piece of wood settled right in next to the, or against the 5 and the 9.
All the way.
Yes. Well, each team has marks in the 2nd, the 5th, and the 8th.
Hammer time.
And that's how close this thing is right now. Just 6 pins, the difference.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Sargent on the head pin, needs another one. Well,
Here's a situation where you almost want to miss the 4 pin and hit the wood, twist the wood around. That's what he's trying to do. Well, he did, but didn't clear the 4.
it's interesting, almost every time there's a shot like that that involves a little strategy, a little extra thinking, you can hear people behind us. Every once in a while you hear people, well, what will he do?
Yeah.
What, you know, everybody talking strategy. Well, Mike carries an extra pin that time, and now he's got a legitimate spare lead.
He was looking at the 3, 6, 4, 7 at first, then the 7 pin went down, and finally, as Doug said, the 4 pin, which leaves him just the 3 and the 6.
He's got it.
He jumped a little bit because he thought he was a little too full on the 3 pin. And Mike will stay up there, the last box, to fill his own spare.
117 plus the ball. And it's 5. 122 for the team of Sargent and Mayo.
Mark will fill the spare, put up in the 8th by his partner Danny Valcourt.
And if things go according to plan, he'll mark in the 10th.
Right.
Oh, no, he'll mark in the 9th. Put a strike on top of that spare. And they may take the lead in this match.
Only down by 2.
Oh, another pretty good looking ball. Leaves the 310 this time. Well, let's see. It's getting better all the time. The wood turned a little bit. Still, it may be better that way than with no wood at all.
Almost got to go right at the 3-pin. Top of the wood, got to turn it a little bit. He's going inside. That's a great shot.
Didn't even bother with the wood at all.
This is the way you make the shot without the wood. Gets by it, hits the 3-pin clean, ball takes the 10, and he finished with a flurry of 3 in a row. Spare, strike, spare. 8th, 9th, and 10th boxes.
So the team of Gregory and Valcourt will take over the lead after the first game. A 7 fill and a 132 for the team, and they will lead by 10. Gregory and Valcourt, a 132. Sargent and Mayo at 122. We'll have game 2 right after these words. Dan Valcourt is going to begin this second game here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. Here's a look at the 5 teams that have already qualified for the Tournament of Champions. Carrington and Ray sitting at 448. And down at the bottom score there, 373. Mike Morgan and Paul St. Pierre. Be interesting to see where next week's winners fit into that championship picture.
Of course, we got a lot of people talking about next week's team. The experience and well, if they were thoroughbred, the track records of both of those bowlers would certainly lower the odds. But 2 tough teams right here that are competing. The winner will take on Steve Vadnais and Joe Ashline next week for the championship.
Well, the interesting thing about that match next week, one of them is that Steve Vadnais and Joe Ashline have been here a number of times and not been able to qualify for the Tournament of Champions. Steve has never qualified for one.
That's amazing with the number of times he's been on our show.
Yep, and they've got a great chance next week as a team. Oh, what a try.
Didn't we check at one time, though, Steve actually won a ladder, but it was before we had the Tournament of Champions?
That's right, right, that's right.
Which still means he hasn't been in the Tournament of Champions. Not that he hasn't won a ladder.
Stan Mayo. Start this string for the team. They trail by 10, but he's working opposite a couple of open frames, and he pulls that one all the way to the left corner.
That was ball 1, outside and low.
Wasted a pitch. And bails out with a 9. 2 weeks from today, the 2 Tournaments of Champions get underway here on the Winds. They'll each run 5 weeks starting at 12 noon on April the 19th. So make sure that you're in front of your TVs or got your VCRs all set to go. You won't want to miss any of those matches. Ooh, Stan missing a single pin, the head pin.
Got a break in the first ball, but then he pulled it left again. So the lead is still 10 pins.
As we've mentioned many times before, we tape Candlepin Stars and Strikes here at Park Place Lanes on Route 28 in Windham. We want to mention that right across the street, our good friends at Amore Pizza, serving New York and Sicilian-style pizza. All sorts of Italian food, salads and subs. Nothing beats a pizza that's amore.
Very good, Doug. Very good.
Mark Gregory trying to make the most of a bad situation here. And it's an 8.
Well, a pair of 8s, a pair of 9s on the other side. Now we're looking for spares and strikes. Actually, that was a quiet 132. Picked up a lot of pins the last 3 frames.
Right.
Well, let's see. Oh, everybody's turning the wood. Got the 2-pin, and then you have the 2, 4, 7, 8. And I'm sure he's going to play the 2-pin, try to slide the wood across. I know it hasn't got a real good angle, but he's got to have a try at it.
Almost. The 2-pin is still there. Yep. For 10. Oh, we still await the first mark of this second game. And Mike Sargent gets the spread eagle +1. It looked like it might be -1 there for a minute. The 5-pin was still up. Now he might be able to make something happen here. He's able to catch that wood.
Oh, you called it, Doug. That was a great shot.
Had to catch that wood while going away from it, and that's exactly what he did.
The only thing you worry about is hitting the wood and the ball missing the 7-pin.
But just a 4-fill on the spare.
Dismiss, get your sticks. Come on.
We'll take a few pins off that lead here in the opening boxes of the second game. With 41, they've cut the lead in half, so almost halfway through. The lead right now is 5 for Mark Gregory and Dan Valcourt. A long way to go on Stars and Strikes doubles. The semifinal match continues. Dan Valcourt.
Come on, Danny.
Oh, big first ball, but he leaves the 6-10 somehow. Oh, big spare. First mark for the team of Gregory and Valcourt in this second game.
Trying to protect that 5-pin lead. Came in leading by 10 after 1. He's right back in the pocket. He wants at least to see the 8-pin go down. Not going to happen. 6. Leaves himself to 6, 8, 9, and 10. That's a triangle in the right-hand corner, 6, 9, 10. And, of course, that 8-pin.
Well, so far in this match, halfway through, the team of Gregory and Valcourt averaging 8 pins per mark on their fill, whereas Sargent and Mayo are averaging just 6 pins per mark. And there's a nice 10 bucks for Dan Valcourt. Get another look at that.
Come on, Stan.
The 8-9. Doing it the hard way.
Certainly was.
No.
Tried to bounce it off the left sidewall and come back across for the 6-pin. Had it moving, but that's it for a 10.
So the lead moves to 11. And Mayo right back on the head pin. He'll shoot at the 2-5-8. Oh,
Good
nice shot.
That's a difficult shot with that sleeper in the back. If you split the 2 and the 5, you don't get the 8 pin. You have to be heavy on the 2 pin. He did just that.
Gregory is all over the head pin again. He'll leave the 6, 7, and 10, and that piece of wood rolling up front will probably go into the channel or get out of play anyway. Joe Paglia taking care of it, and Mark taking a look at it. He not much to think about really on this shot. You just got to put the ball in a precise spot.
You can. I've seen the 6-10 split and get the 7 pin, but most of the time you play the inside and have the 6 pin and the 7 pin off the wall and back across.
Mark was kind of in between there. He was full. So now he can show us how he's going to convert the 7-10.
And while I think of it, I'd like to congratulate Tim Lipke, Pro Bowler of the Year, and also Carol Downey. Both bowlers were bowling in the Pro Tour this year, and the total pinfall determines the Bowler of the Year. 5 out of your 6 events, you drop your lowest score, and Timmy, 2nd year in a row, and they'll be awarded their due awards at the banquet at Sailor Bill's Restaurant, Route 110 in Salisbury, Massachusetts, next Saturday night.
That's right, April 11th.
April 11th.
Well, congratulations to Tim and to Carol and all the other tournament winners and participants on the WCBC Pro Tour. Is that right? That's the 19th year of the Pro Tour. Wow. Seems like it wasn't that long ago when it started.
Well, it's kind of scary because I was looking around the last tournament, and we gave a great round of applause to a fellow who is finally giving up the 10-string events, and that's Al Gallant, 75 years young.
Wow.
Nice mark by Mike Sargent.
Mike only had a 4-fill on the spare left by his partner, but he converted it into another spare.
And so after that, I started looking around, and
oh, Mike's got a spare, strike on spare rather.
Mike's just not going to let me talk. He's going to keep throwing marks. Let's take a look at that strike. The 1-3 pocket, get over 4-pin. And so I started looking around, and I look at Charlie Jutras, and then I'm saying, well, I'm in the next class where I'm getting one of the older statesmen on the Pro Tour. I can just keep Mike Sargent in there. I'll be all right. Won't be alone.
Well, that's great to hear that Al Gallant is still active
going.
and
yeah, is quite a guy. Anyway.
I remember bowling with and against Al.
Is that right?
Yes.
Finally said it's finally getting too much for him to 10 games.
Al used to bowl a lot in Salem, Mass. And
now he plays over in the Fitchburg area, I believe.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I think Danny wanted that head pin to stay up. Needs himself the 9 and the 10. You know, he's going to have to play the wood that's half in the channel and half out on the left. And, well, let's see what that other piece. I still say, because he's got another piece of wood behind it in the channel, and that'll help him snap it out of there. I'd take a chance with that one. Let's see what Danny decides to do.
This is all on a strike, by the way, so this could be spare on strike to keep the... Oh, I take it back.
That's what he's trying. Oh, didn't catch not quite enough of it.
That's not on a strike. I was a box ahead of myself. It's Stan Mayo that'll be working on a strike when he comes up there. Oh, there it was,
Wow.
the 10.
Well, any consolation, Dan, I would have tried to do the same thing. I didn't think it would go that easy. Played the front piece and look at come off the wall. Out of the channel, actually.
Well, a 99 string for the team of Gregory and Valcourt. They're at 231. Now all they can hope is that Stan Mayo doesn't go wild here in the last two, as the team of Sargent and Mayo has already taken the lead here. Nine on that strike. And the lead right now for Sargent and Mayo, 15, as they've turned it around here in the second game.
Lead by 25 in this game alone. Came in trailing by 10. I guess that makes it 15.
8 marks for the team of Sargent and Mayo, 6 for the team of Gregory and Valcourt.
Each team was able to put a string of 3 marks in a row together. Gregory and Valcourt the first game, and of course Sargent and Mayo this one. And we'll make it a 9.
And a 2-string total, 245. So there is the story. There is the story. A 14-pin lead for Mike Sargent and Stan Mayo with 1 game to go. Still anybody's ball game, and we'll be back to settle it in a minute. Well, neither team has elected to change their rotation. They'll keep it as it is. So Mike Sargent will lead off the third and deciding game for his team. And he'll shoot at the 1-2 for a spare.
Right after it.
Remember, it's up to each team. Going into the third and final game, they can change the order of their rotation if they want, but neither team has decided to do that this time. Mike Sargent, the veteran, getting the call. Worked to perfection last week as he was up there for the final 2.
He got that right. Well, he put 2 fingers up. He knew that was 2 when he let the ball go.
Oh, nice second ball. Mike is an intense competitor, but he has a great sense of humor while he's out there, and nothing really seems to bother him too much.
He's a pretty good golf player, too, you know.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, he was talking about it a lot before the show. And
he can hit the ball.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Straight? Can he hit it straight?
Yeah.
Yeah? I can hit the ball. I mean, it's just a question of where it's going to go.
You forget, I play with you once in a while, Doug. We know each other's game. We meet each other all the time in the woods, in the rough,
in the water. Mark Gregory looking for some kind of a break. He's not going to get one.
Well, the wood might have been a little bit of a break. But he still has the 3, 5, 6, 9, and the 7-pin piece of wood next to the 5-pin, which seems to have a good angle to carry the 7-pin.
Mark measures it and gets it. Great shot.
He come off the wall for the 6-pin. Need some help with a 6. The wood did have the angle for the 7-pin.
7th mark for the team. They had only 1 mark in the second game. Trying to get things back together here as they try to come from behind. Big 8 drop, but look at the leave.
5-7. We saw Jack Sanek make this a couple weeks ago. It's not on the same plane with the 7-pin. It's a little out in front, so it can be made.
Whoa!
Gave it a good bid.
Well, they have chipped into the lead at any rate.
Can gain a couple more and count. Pick these up. They're opposite a 7-box.
Well, they've taken 8 off that lead. It's down to 6 now. Stan Mayo, Windsor, Vermont. Just coming up short of a head pin. Didn't turn out too badly.
Just the 1 and the 7. A couple pieces of wood in between. May help.
And Stan's got it. Right on top of that head pin.
Pretty aggressive bowler out there. Nothing timid about him last week and this week.
Misses the head pin again. He'll have another spare chance, though, if he can carry the 9 in the back with the 4 horsemen.
Looks good.
Yes.
So right back, just when the lead was cut to 6, Stan Mayo comes up with a pair of spares.
It's a high five from Mike Sargent as he goes back to the bench, and now Dan Valcourt will try and match those 2 marks to keep things on a single-digit basis, if he can. No, everything but the 10 pin. Looked like a pretty good shot.
Pretty good offer.
Well, they only lose 5 pins in that box because of the 5 fill on the first spare.
The important thing for Sargent Mayo does push the lead back into double figures again, meaning a double mark to catch him. That's one of them.
Strike in the 4th. Wow, this shapes up to be a terrific finish. 11 pins the difference, each team with a markup in the 4th. And we'll be back to finish it, see who's going to the finals after these words. Mike Sargent on a spare. His team leading in the match.
Oh,
and a thin hit at 5.
Strange leave.
Second consecutive 5 fill.
Sticks, get your sticks.
And a 7.
So just 22 pins in that exchange. 5 on the spare, 15 and 7. Just 22 pins. Leaves the door open for Gregory and Valcourt. They're working on a strike when they come up.
Oh, and Mike Sargent may put one up. Let's see. Well, the 8 pin is going to rock, but it won't go down.
And watch the wood.
There is room to get by, and he does. 12th mark for the team of Sargent and Mayo. Here's a very important fill and sequence for Mark Gregory. He's on a strike. He can eliminate a good part of that lead with a big fill here.
Somebody say double time, looking for the double strike. Mark's just saying, give me a spare leave. 4-7 on the left plus the 6 pin. And again, he's got one hanging over the edge of the lane, which I think he's going to have to use. He wants to shoot just like the 10 pin was there. See if he can get everything moved from right to left.
Will it happen? No.
But it's a big fill of 8 on the strike. Can gain a couple more in count. He's opposite a 7 frame, and then he'll have to deal with a spare already in the 6th by Mike Sargent and Stan Mayo.
Nope, takes one. That cuts the lead to 6 again. But now opposite a spare, as Dan said. And this really is a setup box here because Sargent and Mayo already have that spare working. Pretty good ball. Great ball that time.
Straight down the lane, nice and tight in the 1-2 pocket, and there was just no doubt whether it's going to be either 8-9 pin drop or a strike. 6 pin, the last one to go. Stan Mayo working on a spare.
Comes up just a little bit short, but carries 8.
Had 4 spares, but only 2 on the first one, and then a pair of 5s in the next 2. This time 8. Not an easy spare leave, though.
It would appear that if he plays the wood down toward the left side, he may be able to carry it. Let's see. Plays it right side. Does it that
way. Played it up high. Watch the ball take the 10 pin. Stan Mayo has been the bowler this last game. Put up some big marks.
Got a chance for another one, an 8 fill. A tricky piece of wood, but all he has to do is make sure he doesn't hit it on the way by. He's got a clear path to the 5-pin.
Oh, just snipped it, but not enough to hurt the shot. Last 4 boxes, he's had 4 marks.
It's 3 in a row for the team, and they're putting the pressure on Gregory and Valcourt right now.
Larry Valcourt working on a strike. I think I called him Larry.
That was inevitable.
That was last week. Danny Valcourt.
Nope. He knew he had missed it. Not only they lose 2 pins on the fill, but it will be an open box for Gregory and Valcourt, a 7. So that makes the lead now 19 all of a sudden.
Plus the mark is already posted, as you see in the scoreboard, by Sargent and Mayo. So just to keep pace, they need a mark.
Pretty good looking ball. Leaves the 4-pin.
He would need this, and then he just has to hope that Mike Sargent does not get a good fill on the spare, and certainly doesn't get any more the 9th or the 10th frames. This isn't an easy one, though. Let's say this wasn't an easy shot.
Wow.
Tough break there.
So it'll be a 10, and that could prove very costly. The lead right now is 19 plus the next ball that Mike Sargent throws, and that could make it very difficult for Gregory and Valcourt. Well, Mike fills with 6. He's looking for the 4th straight mark for the team. Being open, but they have a 25-pin lead into the final 2. So you do the math real quickly. 25 plus those 9 makes 34. So that means that if Mike can get anything over a 6 here, or a 6,
We'll lock him out.
it will force
Triple strike.
force Mark Gregory to put strikes together.
He knows he's going to have a couple anyways.
Yeah, Mike thought he might have had that one, but he didn't. Nope. It's going to take strikes for Mark Gregory, as he's got to come up with 45 pins in the last 2 to win this thing. So he will have to throw a double strike somewhere along the way. Oh, there's one! Oh! Well, apparently Mark didn't want to wait until the 10th to do it, so we'll try and do it now. Remember, a spare strike now is not good enough. It's got to be another strike right now.
I just got a feeling. I really do.
Let's see.
A little high.
That'll do it.
A little full. Did a good bid, though.
Even if he were to spare this up and then strike on it, it would be 4 pins short. So Mike Sargent and Stan Mayo make it 2 wins in a row, and they move into the finals next week against Joe Ashline and Steve Vadnais, and that should be a heck of a match. 125 for Gregory and Valcourt, a 3-string total of 356, not enough against Mike Sargent and Stan Mayo, who roll a 372 and make it 2 wins in a row. We will come back and set you up for championship week next Sunday in a minute. And welcome back to Stars and Strikes Doubles, here with Dan Valcourt and Mark Gregory, who are going to take home 3rd place money, splitting $250, and Well, you knew exactly what you had to have, Mark, going up in that last couple of boxes, and you got the first one, and the second ball looked pretty good too.
Yeah, I thought I had a shot at it, but we dug ourselves a hole in the second string. I mean, we went through one mark in the string, and then, we hitting the head pin most of the time, but getting no breaks at all.
Well, I know you had your brother here rooting for you, and of course the Valcourt family very involved in bowling. It didn't work out for you this time, but I know you wanted to say hello to some people, right?
Oh yeah, I'd like to. I think I see him sitting over there in his easy chair. Hi, Dale. Dale Prue in Phoenix. How you doing, Dale? Yeah, we just didn't have the luck of the Irish today, Doug. And the other team, they got it rolling, and they've come up the ladder. They're into the finals. So good luck.
Well, thank you guys too, and we're big in Phoenix, I understand. Yeah. So thanks very much. Mark, good to have you here for the first time. Congratulations, and Dan, we'll see you again soon, hopefully as well. Dan Valcourt and Mark Gregory, and now let's bring up Mike Sargent and Stan Mayo, as they are going to get an opportunity to play for the big money next week, and not only that, but a chance to move into the Tournament of Champions in 2 weeks. Stan and Mike, congratulations once again. This time, just marks from each of you when you had to have them, it seems, and you put a little pressure on at the end, made it tough for them to come back.
Yeah, well, they were there when we needed them.
Yep. You had a chance to really kind of push that lead up. Obviously, you're kind of guarding a small lead in that third game, and you pushed it up a little bit.
Yeah, he threw 4 marks. The 4 boxes he bowled, he won the match, and I'm glad to have him.
You're taking turns. That's what it's all about, see? So next week it's for the championship. Pretty imposing team, at least on paper. Joe Ashline and Steve Vadney. We're really looking forward to it. We'll see you next week. Yeah. All right, congratulations, guys. That's Stan Mayo and Mike Sargent with another win, and we'll spin you over to the ladder and get you ready for championship week next Sunday here on Stars and Strikes at 12 noon. First of all, in the singles, in the championship match, it will be Neil Gosselin against Glenn LeBlanc, and then here on Stars and Strikes doubles in the championship match, it'll be the number 3 seed Mike Sargent and Stan Mayo looking for their 3rd win in a row against that top-seeded team that's just been waiting there in the weeds, Steve Vadney and Joe Ashline.
Let's see, as I mentioned at the end of the show last week about Mike Sargent's partner Stan, he was a better bowler this week, and it just takes a week of getting him in front of the lights to calm yourself down, and they're going to be a force to reckon with.
Hey, we're looking forward to next week, Championship Sunday, and then, of course, 2 weeks from today, the Tournament of Champions begins. We'll hope to be with you next Sunday at 12 noon here from Park Place Lanes. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a good week, everybody.